Hello and welcome. I'm so glad that you could join me in creating this card that uses the Spectrum Noir watercolor pencils. These pencils are absolutely wonderful. I have to say, they are so creamy and so easy to use. I just can't wait to show you. So the first thing you're going to do, again, is get a piece of smooth cardstock. You want a piece of smooth cardstock because it helps the coloring. You don't get any grains that way. And I'm going to use a Memento ink. The reason I'm using a Memento ink is because we're going to be using some water. The that I'm using is from Fun Time Creations. I will place the information if you are interested in obtaining this stamp in the link below. So I just inked up my stamp and placed my image. And again, Fun Time Creations. Isn't that just a sweet stamp? That was like $5.25. And then there's a coordinating stamp that you can purchase in Howdy. So for this, I'm going to use Perfect Medium because I'm going to emboss an image, my saying here. And I had two of the Perfect Mediums, and they were the clear. So I just re-inked it with, I had Perfect Medium Black, but I didn't have a pad available. So I placed some of the ink, I don't know if you can see that, onto this ink pad instead of going out and buying a black one. And now I'm just going to, oh, I jumped ahead of myself. I want to get my ultrafine embossing powder ready first. Okay, let's just re-ink that. And I'm going to place this right here on the door. The reason I am embossing it, I just wanted it to pop just a little bit more and give it some more depth. And I'm going to put it into the colors I have chosen hickory or brunette for the rain. I'm going to color in first the bridle or the rain. It's actually called the bridle. The reason I'm coloring this in first is because I may just pull some of this in to the black. Then I'm going to take a sorrel and a cantaloupe for the for his nose. I went and just put a little bit of this, the darker color, around the edging, and lighter. And with a wetted paintbrush, just a little bit of water on a paintbrush that you've dabbed off. Just going to pull that darker color down in. Gives you a little bit of a shadow effect, and I think it brings the color. And a little apricot over top. Then for his main area, actually I'm going to do the hinges first. And I'm coloring these in with Fossil Gray. A little asphalt. I found that it gave me the color that I was looking for by blending the two. If you go to the Spectrum Noir website, there are some tutorials and color matchings. It's a really great website. If you've never visited it and you have these pencils, I would so encourage you to do so. I just discovered that, I mean, it's just loaded with information. I'm going to do this little hinge here. Then for the actual door, I'm going to outline it in an iron gray, like this. Now to outline the horse's mane. On the mane, I wanted to go with the dark horse, so I'm going to use anthracite to basically to outline the entire image. And here's where the magic happens. And those pencils, they are just so creamy. I just can't get over that. They have just, it's made this really easy. And then I'm going to go direct to pencil to get a little bit more of an intensity of that color. And because I'm doing a black horse, I thought I should have a little bit more black in here. I don't know what color a mane is, what the different colors of mane that you could have on a black horse. I'm not too sure. Now to color the horse again, I'm going to use more of the umber and just color this in. Again, more anthracite, which is a black. And I went over top of that. And it made me feel like I had the depth that I was looking for. I have my image painted. I just felt like I needed to dry it a little bit. I don't know that that's necessary, but I just wanted to dry it a little bit. Next, now I have to cut the image out. So what I used was my Thinlets by Stampin' Up. These are layering oval framelets. I'm so excited to have these because the nesting of all the different sizes, it just makes short work of this. I'm going to feed it through the vagabond. Those of you that watched the earlier video on my magnetic sheet comparisons, I just love how this magnetic sheet holds all the dies in place. Then no more sliding around. I can look and see what I have, and it just makes viewing them and cleanup so nice. Then I edged with pumice stone distress ink. And I'm going to mat this onto a piece of cardstock that I cut out. Frames from the Spellbinders. This is the deckled rectangle. I just love this set. I say that about all these dies. And I used this size, the larger one. And then I edged the sides, the edges. Only for this edging, I used walnut stain. I'm going to adhere my watercolored image to my piece of cardstock. You can use any kind of adhesive. I'm just a little partial to the glue. Since I have to make so many, I got a little bit too much on there, didn't I? Since I have to make so many, it just feels a little bit more cost effective. And then after I place the glue, I like to go over it, roll it. Wow, I really did get too much glue on that. I made lots of these cards. I have to say that was probably the first time that I did that. Then I'm going to adhere this to another piece of cardstock. I ran it through the Vagabond in the Sizzix folder by Tim Holtz. This is the wood grain. And I took my distress ink and I did the same thing. I just edged it. And then I went over the top a little bit because I really wanted to bring out the grain. And place some more glue on the back. It's a new bottle of glue. That's probably what caught me off guard. And again, I just like to flip that over and roll it out. I find that the glue really adheres. Sometimes when I use tape and I use these textured, what happens is if the tape doesn't want to always adhere, and especially with the ink, and then the image pops off. I want to place this onto my cardstock. I just took an 8.5 by 11, and now I'm going to place it on my cardstock. I'm using Tombow liquid mono glue. They have two kinds. They have the repositional, and then they also have the permanent. Go a little quicker. It's a little bit more forgiving than the tape is. Now I've adhered this to the front, and a trademark of mine is I like to include a Bible verse on the back, and the verse that I just so happen to be using is John 3:16. So I'm going to do this one in archival ink, permanent ink. And you can find these verses at Hobby Lobby. I'm so excited to be able to find more scriptures. It used to be that they were really difficult to find, and it seems that they're more available on the market than they were in the past. So anyways, my trademark, instead of placing that stamped by or handmade for you, I place a verse. And then I take in a copy paper and I cut it in half, and I reduce the edges just a hair so that I have a peekaboo effect on the inside of the card when you place your inside. And for this one, I'll put "You Made My Day." And again, I'm going to use archival ink. And this stamp, I have to say, I don't know where I purchased it from. I purchased it from a stamp and scrapbook store, and it's not marked. So it just says "You made my day." Then on this side, I like for everything to be a little bit cohesive. So I'm going to use a stamp from Stampin' Up. This is from their set, Bareback. And there's 4 stamps. I used this one on the front of the envelope, this one on the back, and I'm going to use this one on the inside. And I'm going to take and I'm going to stamp this image off a little bit. Then I'm going to go to the card, stamp so it's not quite so dark, and then over top of that I'm going to use the verse that came with the stamp set, and I'm going to go over top of the image. I just think that looks so cool. Okay, if you notice on my stamps they have a number. I may have talked about this in a previous video. This is set 2. It's cataloged. Set 2. I mark each stamp with the number 2 because, as you can see, I get stamps out and it's like, okay, which stamp goes with that set? And I look on the end, it says 2, and I know that that goes in there. Hearing the left side of the card, the left side of the insert, because when I place these in their envelope, I'll show you how I do that. Since this is going to go in a paper blessings box, I've stamped my image on the front, and on the back flap I'm going to add one more. I'm going to add these little cool looking horses that were in the Stampin' Up set. Place it on the back of the envelope, the back flap. Then I tuck in, and so there's the card all completed, ready to go into the paper blessings box. So what I do is I take this flap, I place the back portion of the card in the envelope so that when someone picks up the card and to see if it's a card that they want to, they can see the insert and the saying that's on the inside. And I'll add it to the stack, and there we go. There's my paper blessings. I used the rusty hinge. Look at the cool color. And I used staples. There you go. All ready for the paper blessings box. Now to pull one of these out and give them to my friend. Thank you for visiting my channel, TC's Paper Blessings. I hope I've encouraged you to make your own set of 10 cards. You can tell I did more than 10 here. I plan to give a few of these away to a friend. I'm going to give her 5 of these in a packet with a bow. Thank you for spending this time with me. Don't forget to subscribe, or better yet, give me a thumbs up.